no more negativity. Make sure that you're choosing every moment, just like you said, and stop the negativity. And that may seem kind of firm, but it really works for some couples as well.
When couples start experiencing challenges in their relationships, a lot of times the way they think and the way they act become very negative. They become different. That person, they start talking about their partner like they always act this way. They never do. It becomes very, very crazy in their head. How can we offer that person some advice to reframe things, to reconnect to their partner before it's too late?
I'm a specialist in too late, Charles. So many times people have even come to me when they want to mediate their divorce. And in one of my best cases, they were so acrimonious with each other. And by the time they decided on counseling and they moved on, they had a love that they had never thought possible. So I really think it's important to realize that too late is sometimes the beginning. That you think, oh, this is really the end, and you're only beginning the work. Because if you have courage and you have willingness and you have imagination, amazing things are possible. So what I ask them to remember is, why did they choose each other in the first place? And when I'm helping people be more healthy, and I talk about this in my book, Kaizen for Couples, I have a graphic, which is, I ask people to put it on their fridge. I have it on a magnet for them, and it reminds them to say, I choose you. Right? When I am getting really angry or I'm really upset in the moment, if I can remember, I choose you, it changes everything. It really can change the entire direction. So too late is not necessarily too late. And I think that's an important thing.
I love what you say about that. And the one thing that I have said is just no more negativity. Make sure that you're choosing every moment, just like you said, and stop the negativity. And that may seem kind of firm, but it really works for some couples as well. Just don't be negative with your partner, because then it just breeds this next level of frustration, next level of contempt, next level of discommunication. So really just think about, be positive, or not even be positive, just don't be negative.
Well, there's a line in A Course in Miracles that have always stood out for me, and it says, who's ever most sane at the moment is responsible for the relationship. So if you can be the sane one, have a code word that you can say, like, we're going sideways here. I have one couple who chose the word rishi, for instance. They just say that word and everything stops. And I think that's really important.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I have the same thing, where there's only one crazy person allowed at a time. So,
right.
You know what I'm saying? That's it. You end up with two crazy people, you end up with everyone screaming, and it doesn't work that way. So one crazy person at a time. But it's hard to remember this stuff when you're in it. When you're in, especially in a long-term relationship, if you end up in an argument, it's hard to remember, I really remember when we were courting, or when we were at our wedding, or why I chose this person. That stuff is really hard when you're like, if they leave their shit on the bathroom floor one more goddamn time, it's hard to get back to that place. How can we?
So something that men don't realize, and this is a helpful tool all the time, whenever there's an argument going on or some tension going on, say, okay, hold on one second. And this is a phrase I've memorized. I've used it now hundreds of times. You practice it in the mirror, just like you practice a speech, and you write out your speech. You have to practice, you have to grow the neural connectors to say this. Then at those times of stress, just like a soldier, you follow instructions. See, we can be trained as men. You get that wiring in there. Times of stress, what do I do? You just need the training. So there's a variety of things you can train yourself to do, but one of them is, I say, hold on one moment, I really want to hear what you're saying, even though every cell in my body doesn't. Okay, I say, I really want to hear what you're saying. It's starting to sound like I do nothing right, and I know that's not true. Would you take a moment and tell me some of the things I do right? Tell me some of the things you appreciate about me or why you love me, and then we can talk some more. And 90% of the time, she can just shift and go, oh my gosh, you're such a great dad. The other day you did this for me and did this and this. And then I go, okay, now I can listen again. Because what happens to us as men is when women are upset, we start to feel threatened, like, oh my gosh, unless I fix all these problems or explain to her she's being crazy, that she's not going to love me. So we think we have to do something about it, as opposed to no, she's still connected to her love. It's not as big a problem as it might appear to be.
I have read that blame and shame are the ego's trick to stunting growth. And that's such a helpful thing. It's helpful for me in my relationship, and it's helpful for my clients. So I say, okay, if you're getting into the blame, or you're getting into the, if you're just sitting there going, you're right, honey, I'm horrible, I'm a piece of crap, I'm the worst person, you're not growing, you're not doing anything. That shame, or if you're like, and you do this, John, and you do this, you're not growing. And so that's that being positive, kind of taking that and stepping away from it and going, okay, blame and shame stunts growth. It's my ego's trick to get me from growing. What am I avoiding growing here? And I think being able to take that pause.
When you start thinking and feeling negative things about your partner, establish some ground rules as to what that means between the two of you, and get into something that's more positive that you've experienced throughout your relationship, and it'll get you kind of back to neutral.